Welcome to an episode of InRange. I'm here at the Echo Valley Training Center in beautiful West Virginia, near Winchester, Virginia, for Woodland and Midnight Brutality 2024. But this video is not about the match. It's actually going to be about setting up your night vision, your laser rig, and field conditions. So I had a gun that I was doing a full review on, and I was going to use this venue to do the review for you, and I was going to show it being used during day and night. But the very first night of Midnight Brutality, the first stage I shot, even after I configured the gun and used it reliably back in Arizona, I got it here and suffered a catastrophic malfunction on the first stage, which rendered it completely inoperable. I could not fix it. There were some parts missing, tried to put it back together, but that did not solve the problem. And it terminated my shooting the match. Now, that said, people were like, here, borrow my gun, borrow this gun. And Fagan's like, borrow my gun, but his gun wasn't set up for night shooting. And so this is an interesting question, one we should think about. If you've got your night vision rig set up where you've got IR and white light and you've got your laser designating unit and all that stuff going on, it's kind of set up for you. Certainly you could probably pick up someone else's gun with a properly zeroed laser, but that wasn't what was being offered to me. What was being offered to me was this, which is really well configured for night fighting, is a what would Stoner do carbine, suppressed, and I'm like, perfect, I want a suppressed gun, and I was going to use a suppressed gun for the match. But what we needed to do is move my night fighting equipment to this gun. But then that poses the question, it's the middle of the day right now, and I'm gonna be shooting tonight. How do I zero this properly? Well, that's what the visible laser is for. This hollow sun unit is visible green and IR. So I've set it to visible high. We've moved my illumination equipment, both white light and IR light, to the side of the gun. And what I'm going to do is simply take that little white bucket you see right there, there's a white bucket, and I've got an LPVO on this. And if I go prone here with the bipod and zero the crosshairs, this optic is already zeroed. I know this is zeroed. I'm gonna put the crosshairs in the center of that little white bucket. And then I'm gonna merely zero the green visible laser, which is visible even during the day, especially with an LPVO, and just put the green dot right on the center of the crosshairs of this. Now, I'm not going to live fire. I'm not going to test it beyond that. I'm going to just zero the visible slaved green dot to the center of the crosshairs. And since that's a slaved laser unit, meaning the IR laser and the visible green laser should be exactly the same zero, in theory, when I go shoot this at Midnight Brutality tonight, or at least a few of the stages for footage for you, it should work just fine. So this is a video about, can I zero with the visible green laser on this hollow sun unit to the already zeroed optic, switch to IR, not confirm with live fire, and hit targets tonight. So all you need to do to adjust that laser unit is have a quarter or a dime or a nickel around. And like I said, I'm gonna get prone right now. I'm gonna aim those crosshairs at that little white crate. I'm gonna move the green dot till they intersect. That's it. And that's it. As you can see, that only took a few minutes. I've got the green visible laser intersecting to the middle of the crosshairs on this LPVO. Interesting experiment, right? So we're gonna find out tonight if I can hit anything with it. Also, I'm doing a few other things that the internet tells you can't do. I have my IR designator on a carbon fiber free float tube, and we've got a suppressor on a pencil barrel. Both no-nos, right? So we've got field zeroed IR designator to optic, moved from one gun to another, on a carbon fiber free float tube with a bipod and a suppressed pencil barrel. Let's see what happens.
Hit. 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 All right, that's it from there. You're gonna have rubber target and steel target. Hit. 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 There you go. Hit. Hit.
As you can see, my trash zeroing methods worked. Merely superimposing the green visible dot on a white bucket at about 100 yards and over the crosshairs of this LPVO allowed me to successfully engage night targets at 200 yards with the laser. As far as I'm concerned, that is more than sufficiently good enough for a trash zero. Now, I know a lot of you out there are veterans and etc. and have done stuff like this in the field or a military experience, whatever, and you know that this is a fairly commonplace way to zero a laser unit, a designator. That said, I did no live fire. I didn't test the zero. I just did it on the crosshairs and went out there and engaged targets successfully. So I know some of you have that experience, and to you this isn't that novel, but to a lot of people who don't have a lot of night vision experience or laser zeroing experience for that matter, that was the point of this video. And it is interesting how crude your methods can be successfully sometimes in the field. And it's a way to overcome the fact that my other gun kind of decided to self-implode. But the other thing that I think is hopefully interesting in this video is just seeing the difference between what those bays look like during the day and what they look like at night. Even with night vision, even with IR illumination, even with an IR designator, it is stark. And things that are just extremely easy to see during the day are actually nearly, if not entirely, impossible at night, even with some of the best night vision out there and best illuminators. And that's why you see things like laser illuminators and like this LEP unit that I've got on here that I can change the cone of illumination to increase the intensity at distance. But even with that, a thing that's obviously like an IPSC target during the day starts to fade into the evening and the night, especially when there's trees around, and things that are targets are no longer obviously targets at night, beyond the fact that your ability and distance to see dramatically is reduced. So hopefully that was interesting. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. I did enjoy making it for you after overcoming the anger of having a gun break on the first stage of my first match of Woodland Brutality. But that's all right. We overcame and we did something interesting anyway. If you'd like to join us at a Brutality match, you can find them at brutalitymatches.org. Love to have you there. Early access with discounts for Patreon supporters. Plus Patreon supporters help keep the channel alive. Patreon.com/InRangeTV. If you can't do either, well, I understand that. Money is certainly not infinite. Please just subscribe to the channel, hit that stupid bell or whatever. Hopefully that'll help you out. And more than that, just share with your friends, because this kind of content is not generally supported by the algorithm. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.